You know, I keep looking back at November 2020, my first big upload on the channel, where I ranked all of the NetherRealm Studios guest characters from the worst to the best following the conclusion of Mortal Kombat 11 support. And after that video wrapped up, I was fully intending of just ending YouTube there and then just continuing with my full-time job and career. But because of that success, you guys really gave me the passion to keep video editing and doing content creation around my favorite games franchise of all time, that being Mortal Kombat. So without that video success, I wouldn't be here now. All I have to say is thank you so much for all of your support over the years. I really do all of this for you guys, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, with Mortal Kombat 1 wrapping up support, and we have 6 more guest characters to look at, I guess it felt like it was the right time to do a re-ranking of all of the NetherRealm Studios guest characters from the worst to the best. So, let's get to it.
Fight!
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Nick here, and welcome to, or welcome back to the channel. Nearly 5 years ago, I ranked the 13 guest characters of Mortal Kombat and Injustice from the worst to the best. And with Mortal Kombat 1 ending support in May of 2025, the number of guests has jumped up to 19. And like last time, I'll be following a similar criteria. Overall fit and tone to the MK and Injustice universe, how well they adapted their source material to the game, how fun I think they are to play overall, their super moves and fatalities. I went through and played all these characters again, and I just want to say right now, I do like them all in their own way. I just want to get this out of the way immediately. None of these guest characters are bad. If there's one that I rank low, they either just didn't scratch the itch, they disappointed me, or missed the mark. Keep in mind, I like all of these guest characters. Also, if you've been a viewer since 2021, be ready for some surprises as some of my placements have changed. Also, this is just my opinion, not the definitive list. If there's a guest I ranked low that you really like, that's great. I'd love for you to share in the comment section down below what makes you like them so much that I didn't see or agree with. I'm hoping to have some fun conversations with you in the comment section. And with that, let's grab our multiversal MacGuffin and summon the NRS guest characters and rank all 19 of them from the worst to the best. Unfortunately, nothing has changed since my original ranking, as Robocop still takes the bottom spot. Even though he's low, I still had plenty of fun with this character. Do I think he's bad? No, I don't think so. Unfortunately, I found him to be the most disappointing guest character. His inclusion was not only meant to highlight the action characters of the 80s and 90s, but also have him clash with the Terminator, similar to something like Alien and Predator in MKX, to even Omniman and Homelander in MK1. They were truly faithful with the character, maybe a little too much if you know what I'm saying. His gameplay heavily relying on his guns and playing keep away with the opponent. I don't think it's a bad playstyle at all. Many people in the comments thought he was super fun, and I agree with you, but I am not a big fan of the zoner playstyle. Still, I gotta commend the team for their hard work on this character, along with everyone to be fair. The armor is so sleek, or damaged depending on which skin you choose. Having Peter Weller both provide the likeness and voice is a real treat, and he also has some pretty kick-ass fatalities. Despite being at the bottom of the list, and for his shortcomings I had mentioned, I still like the character because of all the fun stuff he provided. He's still a welcomed inclusion to the roster, and just like Bigsby Snyder once said, I'd buy that for $1.
You are under arrest, dirtbag.
Already this early in on the ranking, and we're looking at Mortal Kombat X, what fans consider to be one of the best and most fun games in the series. This time around, I'm putting Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the 18th spot. Back then, he was up a bit higher, but not by much. After going back and comparing to who we got now, I bumped him down a peg. First off, yes, Leatherface definitely deserves to be on here because of the sheer bloodshed he's capable of doing with his chainsaw. However, compared to what he's going up against, his inclusion is a little weird when you start to think about it. As explained in his lore, he literally just wandered his way into a portal that took him to Outworld, looking for new types of meat to prepare for his family. And yes, it even highlights that chitin is his favorite. I guess an explanation is better than no explanation. If you've watched any of the movies, he tends to go for people who are either scared or vulnerable people who visit the Sawyer home. Just seeing him do crazy combos against the Khan of Outworld and Necromancer the Netherrealm, it does look a little bit weird. Personally, that's why I think Leatherface perfectly works in something like Dead by Daylight. Realistically, the emphasis of adding more slashers to Mortal Kombat came from the success of Freddy Krueger in MK9, and with Jason already making his way to the roster, Leatherface was meant to capitalize on horror icons and Mortal Kombat. I remember when he was first announced, I remember hearing a lot of people were disappointed, wishing for a different and more interesting horror character like Michael Myers or Ash Williams. I guarantee NRS wanted to do a chainsaw character, and Leatherface was an obvious choice. Overall, I feel like they did do a good job adapting the character in this game. His fatalities are extremely gory, the brutalities are even more gross, and I like how the variations switch between different moments from the first movie, different suits and references to the movie. In the end, still interesting to see a simple slasher who is just a guy make it into Mortal Kombat. It wouldn't take until 2024 for them to include another slasher. But as for now, enjoy your time in the entity's realm, Leatherface.
Leatherface wins.
Oh geez, a big change from my original list, but number 17 goes to the Terminator T800 in Mortal Kombat 11. When this was announced, I was ecstatic. Arnold being in Mortal Kombat, portraying one of his most iconic characters? Who wouldn't be this excited? But it only got more disappointing from there. Having the likeness of Arnold is awesome, looking so much like him with the graphics and detail. However, it's just very disappointing that he wasn't able to provide the voice, instead being voiced by Chris Cox. He does a good impression, but the expression is very limited since he's supposed to be a robot, you know, lacking emotion. Just a bit disappointed Arnie didn't have the time for it. But beyond that, his gameplay really disappoints me. I do appreciate the references to the Terminator trilogy. Heads up, the deal didn't include stuff like Terminator 3, Salvation, or Genesis, so that's a good thing there. So it's cool they could just make these fit as special moves. But I'm not the biggest fan of his gameplay. Probably one of the biggest WTF moves in the game has to be the exoskeleton variation move. Like, why did they make this a thing outside of just being a cool factor to include in the trailer? This is a bit of a hot take here, but I found him to be one of the least fun characters to play as in Mortal Kombat 11. Honestly, they had a lot of wonderful ideas for this character. I'm just pretty disappointed with the execution. However, I do love the attention to detail with his cosmetics and design, really making him feel like the Terminator. Each time he's hit, there's a metal clang to it, and when performing crushing blows, his endoskeleton is shown off. I just love how they went the extra mile there. If his gameplay were better, along with having Arnold do the voice, then I would have placed him way higher. Guess you can say I went all judgmental day for you, T800. Speaking of mentioning Arnold characters, our second to last guest in MK1 and entering the 16th spot goes to Conan the Barbarian. Definitely the okay, why is he here character, but somehow feels amazing to play, justifying his inclusion. Now here's my tinfoil hat conspiracy, but I feel like Conan was added to the game because the license was cheap to acquire with no major film projects in the works, outside of a recent Red Sonja film. I feel like this was a test to see if they could make Tusk from Killer Instinct in Mortal Kombat, because holy hell, this dude plays literally like Tusk with a couple of references thrown around here and there. Sword spins like the movie, the camel punch as a parry, and even the reference to Thulsa Doom as a fatality to make it feel more like Conan. Also, Chris Cox really could pass as Arnold, as he gives off more emotion as Conan with the voice. You can really tell that he had a lot of fun with every "ah" or stuff like that. Overall, Conan just really delivered being a solid guest character in the game, feeling way more like an MKX character with all the crazy stuff that he can pull off. I myself and many others were very skeptical with his announcement, but MK1 Chaos Reigns just proved the DLC characters didn't miss at all. There's some foreshadowing for you right there. Lastly, yes, Dad, I promise I'll finally watch this movie too. From Barbarians to Spartans, the first and only console-exclusive character we're looking at is Kratos from the God of War series in Mortal Kombat 9. For a first-time guest, this was a perfect inclusion. PlayStation's bloodiest and most popular character joining the MK revival. And I even like how they tried including him into this world, being brought by Shao Kahn after attempting his unaliving attempt at the end of God of War 3. Shao Kahn opened a portal bringing him to this realm for battle, something I completely got wrong in my original video. Based on his God of War 3 interpretation, he's loaded with an arsenal from the games, including the Blades of Chaos, the Golden Fleece, the Blade of Olympus, the Bow of Apollo, Medusa's Head, Hail of Helios, Hermes' Boots, weird slow-mo stuff from the games with QTEs. Yeah, they really went all out with this guy. All of which made this character just broken as hell, oh my god. It's also awesome how he's the only guest to come with his own stage, which is honestly something I wish became a tradition. And unfortunately, because of his exclusivity, Kratos never got that much attention in the tournament scene, as he was banned in pretty much all major tournaments. So many non-PS3 players never got to face him in battle or get to go to the Chamber of Flame. Along with that, all the audio is archived from God of War, so I honestly wish that some of the dialogue could have been unique to this game, where he's addressing certain characters or moments or something like that. And also, he's the only character to have some weird stuff happen to him for his fatalities. For one, his face never expresses when being finished, his mouth never opens, and some fatalities are completely altered on him, this being at the request of Sony Entertainment, confirmed by Ed Boon. For being the first and only game guest character, they did a good job with his inclusion. I'm kinda bummed that the rumored Marcus Phoenix inclusion was scrapped, because it would have been cool to have, depending on which version of the game you have their own exclusive character. Also, be sure to check out friend of the channel History Behind the Warriors video talking about that here. And I do hope we get Kratos to return, but based off his new God of War games. He may not be a godlike inclusion, but he did help other guests make their way into Mortal Kombat, so thank you for that.
Kratos wins.
At number 14, we're sticking with Mortal Kombat 9 and looking at the Dream Demon from A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger, the final DLC character in Mortal Kombat 9 and the first horror character. Freddy was truly a special treat back in 2011. Jesus Christ, he came out 14 years ago. I feel old. He made such an impression, showing that guest characters weren't just a one-off with Kratos, but were starting to become the new norm. However, as time has passed, I only think that he's okay. For one, I do appreciate the vignette trailer explaining how he entered Mortal Kombat. Shao Kahn attempted to take the souls of Earth realm, so Freddy challenged him in the Dream realm. However, Shao Kahn was cunning and he pulled him into the real world, making him mortal once again. They even explained why he has a second glove to justify the stand switching too, which I thought was really cute and kind of funny. Though it's cool Freddy is here, I'm not a fan of the 2010 version that appeared in this game. It's cool they pull from multiple Nightmare films that make for great special moves and even fatalities, but I just wish we had Robert Englund do the voice and the face model. Basing it off that version of the character would have made this 10 times better. For being an early guest, I can't bash too much of the limitations he has. Still a cool inclusion, and it's cool that horror is still linked to Mortal Kombat to this day. It's also unfortunate that we'll probably never get Freddy again in anything MK related down the line, with the Wes Craven estate getting the US rights back to A Nightmare on Elm Street, which also led to MK9 being delisted on Steam and on digital storefronts. So get that disc while you can. Guess if I really want to get Freddy back, we'll just have to dream about it. But for now, thanks Freddy for paving the way for more horror to join MK. At unlucky number 13, with our first comic book guest character to enter Injustice with Dark Horse's Comics Hellboy, or H***Boy, based on the comments in the community tab. Meant to promote the Hellboy film from 2019, it was a real treat to see the half-demon enter the world of DC. As someone who grew up watching the early Hellboy films, it was great to see them include some of his abilities and weapons, such as the right hand of Doom, the Good Samaritan hand cannon, to even the brimstone grenades and a frickin' Excalibur? They really pulled from multiple sources and turned them into specials, and it shows. The customization for the character is pretty cool too, making him change up his horns, jacket, and even put stuff on his arm. Yeah, this one always was weird to me. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Injustice's gameplay for many of the characters, Hellboy's playstyle wasn't the most fun for me, but I did enjoy it. On top of that, I know the rights were limited to Mike Mignola's design, but his design really clashes with the realistic look of Injustice. Just having a cartoony looking demon fight a realistic looking Batman or Green Arrow just always pulled me out of the experience, and it felt like I was playing a modded version of the game. If they had went off some of the upcoming film designs or even the Ron Perlman look, it could have helped it out a ton, but I guarantee that would have been a licensing nightmare to deal with. Also, how much his right hand of doom switches arms also irks me quite a ton. I don't know why it does, it's just really annoying every time I look at it. Though I have plenty of mixed things to say about Hellboy, having a pretty cool and underrated comic book character enter a DC fighting game was awesome as hell. Let's talk about more comic book guests and look at our 12th spot, The Boys' Homelander in MK1. Although I put this guy pretty high on my most wanted guest for MK a few years ago, I'm still happy with his inclusion, but a few things felt kinda underwhelming overall. I do love how much it looks like the character, pulling more from the TV show than the comics. Honestly, for the better if you've read the source material. Even though Anthony Starr didn't do the voice but lended his likeness, voice actor Jake Green nailed his inflection and mannerisms. His fatalities are great references to the show, especially the plane one, and I like how his special moves are references to moments from the show, being implemented in great ways. However, like Homelander in the show, I really didn't like how his gameplay and meta really focus on his laser eyes. No joke, his gameplay trailer highlights so much laser vision to hurt the opponent when he has several other powers he could have used. You could make the argument that yeah, that's how he is in the show, but in a fighting game, he really feels like an annoying Injustice character with the amount of zoning options. Still happy to see fascist Superman make it into MK1, but a few limitations hold him back from soaring any higher. Though he may not be perfect down to the last minute detail, he's still a super inclusion. Time to take a look back at some action heroes from Mortal Kombat 11 by looking at the 11th spot, Rambo. The character closing out this game was quite a unique choice when he was announced, but I found him to be surprisingly fun and implemented well. Cool gameplay, great fatalities, and cool callbacks to multiple Rambo films. And even having Stallone voice the character was awesome, because if they weren't, I totally would've. Okay, not really. I'm honestly shocked Rambo wasn't an annoying projectile spammer like some of the MK11 characters or Robocop, but the fact they turned him into a trap-based character and utilizing a bunch of his weapons from the films was a great idea. I do love how much he focuses on command grabs using that knife of his, and man does he like to make those messes super bloody. For a guy that not many people were excited for, they nailed Rambo. Talk about an amazing way to close out this title. We are finally cracking into the top 10 and looking at another Hollywood actor portraying an action character, this being DC Comics' Peacemaker in MK1. With Combat Pack 1's theme focusing on dark comic book characters, justice done their own way, Peacemaker at first felt like a weird inclusion in comparison to Omniman and Homelander, but damn it, he was one of the more fun characters in the game. A lot of his special moves are pulled from both the Suicide Squad and the Peacemaker TV series. I even love how much he utilizes his helmet for special moves, making him really stand out among the roster. Along with that, it's just fun to have another funny and wisecracking character. A lot of his intro dialogue or things he says in the middle of the match honestly just gave me a good old belly chuckle. A lot of that goes to the face model and voice actor for the character, being John Cena! You can clearly tell he had so much fun playing the character here. His gameplay was honestly amazing until he got nerfed a couple patches later. No joke, this dude was totally broken when he first launched, but I still have a wonderful time playing as him, even when it came to recently capturing footage for this guy. So if we do get another Injustice game down the line, I'd really like to see this character come back. But in the end, a great inclusion I was skeptical about and turned out to be an amazing character. So peace out, Maker. Speaking of skeptical to amazing implementations, our final MK1 DLC character, the T1000, makes his way into the 9th spot. Yeah, let's be honest here. Many of us were very confused when we saw he was announced for Combat Pack 2, but damn it, they nailed this one, and he's probably one of the most fun characters in the entire game. Yet again, putting on my tinfoil hat because this feels like they wanted KI's Glacius in Mortal Kombat, because he's pulling off a couple of moves, but they fit the character so well. He also has puddle punching, he turns into Gloop for striking the opponent, and more. Outside of that, there are plenty of T1000 things he does from the movie that fit his special moves, such as the running and gunning, the command grabs with the long finger to stab them, etc. Unlike with the other Terminator, we've got Robert Patrick reprising the role and even voicing it, which he nailed. As someone who rewatched T2 leading up to this game, the references as both fatalities and special moves are just chef's kiss. Who would have thought the most questionable inclusion in Mortal Kombat 1 would have made for one of the coolest executed characters? The T1000 feels like everything the T800 was trying to do, but better. This is one hell of an upgrade.
T1000 wins.
At number 8, we've got the Clown Prince of Crime, with all K's there, the Joker from DC Comics. And before we go any further in this entry, yes, I'm counting the Joker in this game. I know I got plenty of comments in the original video asking why I didn't include Scorpion, Sub-Zero, or Raiden after I included the Joker, and that's because I thought that, well, they were just asked to make a DC fighting game, and it was just an easy out to have Ed Boon put his own MK characters in a game that they're working on. I always just thought that was cheating, and that's why I didn't include them. He doesn't play anything like the Injustice version, unlike MK, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Raiden in the Injustice games. Also, it's my video and deal with it. But Joker, hell yeah, this guy is awesome. I'm happy that they really kind of let him off the chains with this version of the character, make him the most violent version possible. Like, imagine all the crazy tools and gadgets that he has in his arsenal, but they're actually going to kill you. Like those extendo punching gloves that have brass knuckles at the end, you get to see them busting their face, having a Batman puppet attached to a gun, which I like to call the Zack Snyder Batman, or the fact that he fights with a cane. And with all of the weird variations in costumes, I love how they were able to introduce all of these cool references to other media when it came to the Joker. For a character who had a very poor announcement, showcasing a very unfinished model in the announcement trailer, he quickly turned around and became one of the coolest and most fun characters in Mortal Kombat 11. I can promise you one thing, I'm not clowning around when I say that. From DC Comics to Image Comics, we're looking at one of our most recent comic book character inclusions, this being Omniman from the Invincible series. Included after his massive popularity from the hit show, he feels like he was a Superman character done right in a fighting game. And as someone who didn't know too much about the source material going into this, and after doing plenty of research, they did a wonderful job including this character. I love a lot of his flight abilities and how it's implemented into the game, and I really like how much of a brawler he is. The inclusion of many stances that reference many moments from the show, such as flying behind them and breaking their back, to even using the clap to knock them away or just knock their skin off the body, flying right through people. They managed to pull a lot, and it turns out early on in development, Robert Kirkman, the creator of Invincible and Omniman, was heavily consulted with Ed Boon. So this was a wonderful inclusion adapted by the guy who created the character, and it turns out he even had a say in the fatalities too. So you can thank Robert Kirkman for having the trained killer fatality included in the game. And because of the show, we were even graced with a special treat, that being J.K. Simmons, another wonderful fellow from Michigan, voiced the character once again. All of his banter just feels so right, never out of character at all. I don't really have too many flaws with this character at all, I just think he was adapted perfectly. And after seeing his inclusion in this game, and after looking at plenty of the trailers for the upcoming Invincible Versus game, it's just making me more excited to play that game too. And also just do a fun compare contrast and maybe compare some of the fatalities that are going to be in the other games. So I guess stay tuned for more content covering Invincible Versus soon. Say what you want about Mortal Kombat 1, but they nailed the guest characters. Omniman is another example of that trend.
The realms are mine.
At number 6, we're looking at one of the coolest extraterrestrial characters, the alien or xenomorph from Alien. Now this is an awesome inclusion. After the Predator was already announced for MKX, this seemed like dream come true material, and I'm happy that we got Alien in the same game. First off, Alien plays exactly like I thought they would, even if I wish they fought on all fours the whole match. I love how they utilize a lot of their sharp claws, their tongue, mouth thing, and even their tail for a lot of basic combos. But when it comes to the variation system, that's where I think Alien really shines. Some of them involving laying down eggs or summoning other aliens to fight, really making it feel like multiple xenomorphs exist in the universe. On top of that, there's also the acidic variation that highlights all of the chipping damage that you can do, and is my brother's go-to favorite variation in this game. And then the one that makes it really feel like it's a Mortal Kombat character is Tarkatan. In the teaser trailer for Combat Pack 2, we saw that Baraka was actually infected by a facehugger, hence we get a Tarkatan variation of the xenomorph. This explains why it has the Baraka blades and utilizes a lot of the chop chop moves, which I know many people were disappointed that Baraka wasn't in the game. I think this is a wonderful way to have a guest fit the universe. Along with that, I even like how in its lore it says that there's a xenomorph hive that exists in Outworld, making it feel like they've always been a part of the universe. Also, Alien is just super fun to play. I know when they first came out they were considered very broken, and to this day you can still pull off some amazing combos with the character. I also just miss the era of monster characters being added in Mortal Kombat. MKX was really the only game that had that, and I really hope we get more creature characters in the next title. If I really had to be nitpicky with my complaints with the character, is that he looks a little too bulky for my liking. I understand the motion capture was done by a guy in a suit, and you can clearly tell with the frame of the alien. The xenomorph looks like its diet consists of only just humans, outworlders, and creatine. Secondly, I feel like this is a character where they should have altered some of the fatalities like they did with Kratos and MK9, because some of the fatalities do not work on the alien in terms of lore. Like, let's be real here, Kotal Khan's heart rip fatality, his face would have melted at the end of this. But that's just something, if you can turn your brain off and just enjoy the fact that one of the coolest sci-fi monsters is in this game, then you can have an amazing time with the xenomorph. The alien's inclusion was an out of this world experience.
Alien wins.
We are stalking our way into the top 5 with the most recent slasher to join Mortal Kombat with Scream's Ghostface in Mortal Kombat 1. Yeah, I may be a little bit biased here, but surprisingly, my favorite guest in all of Mortal Kombat 1 is the most simple slasher. On surface level, it seems a little weird, but I really like how they made Ghostface fit in Mortal Kombat. On surface level, this seems like it'd be a very simple license to acquire, but if you know more about the rights loophole, this is quite complicated. Not only did they need to get the rights to use Scream, they also needed to get the rights from Fun World to use the iconic Ghostface mask. On top of that, you have the voice of Roger L. Jackson providing Ghostface's voice, and whenever you see the fatal blows done, you get to see the likeness of Skeet Ulrich, who is Billy from the first Scream movie. There are a lot of pieces that are coming together for just one character, and it's so awesome that they are able to pull it off, getting the rights and securing them all for this. And on top of that, I like how they integrate Ghostface into the world. Though he does shrug it off with the don't know, don't care on how we got into this multiverse, but how they make him fight and be on par with the Mortal Kombat characters is amazing. Unfortunately, he doesn't get Stu. He does recruit 2 Black Dragon members that explain the more mystical parts of the character, being able to pull off special moves by both Kira and Cobra. Personally, I think it's a great way to bring in 2 kind of underappreciated and forgotten characters in Mortal Kombat and make them fit into a guest character's story. If only they can get some proper return in the next title. Also, something else that I had noticed doing my research, it looks like Behavior Interactive and NetherRealm Studios had collaborated on this character, as some of the assets are taken over from Dead by Daylight, such as the Devil Mask and the Scarecrow Mask are gear pieces in Mortal Kombat 1. Also, I'm a sucker that they were able to to include the bleeding Ghostface mask. I had that as a kid, and it's cool that this properly works in the game. For a character I thought was just going to be a very odd inclusion in Mortal Kombat 1, they managed to nail it out of the park. Also, Ghostface has one of the best fatalities in all of Mortal Kombat 1 with slashing the fourth wall. Come on, just admit it, you know it's amazing. Only someone like him would be able to pull something like that off. But overall, Mortal Kombat 1 continues the trend of weird guest character announcements, but amazing execution. Guess you can say all the Ghostface fans screamed in excitement. Looking at our final slasher in Mortal Kombat guest history, and one of my favorite slashers, Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. Yeah, when we all saw that Freddy Krueger made it in Mortal Kombat 9, it seemed like Jason was a no-brainer for the next anticipated title in the series. And let me tell you, with the variation system, they nailed this character. Even though it's rumored that this is based off of their own take of Jason because no movie came out around this time, and the last time that Jason had been in a movie was 6 years prior, it's cool that they were able to kind of create their own type of Jason by utilizing everything throughout the Friday the 13th franchise. I love how his main variation is with his trusty machete. Another one, he has a creepy mask and he can do some weird lake teleportation stuff, the more spiritual one. I even love how he has his unstoppable variation where he's able to come back from the dead and do that creepy rise up when they're laying down. Seriously, they nailed it with Jason Voorhees. Along with that, I even like how his fatalities are literally pulled from the movie, similar shots, music cues, and such. That's just amazing attention to detail right there. In terms of gameplay, I find him to be one of the more fun characters in the entire game, being able to pull off some crazy combos with the character, and I love how satisfying it is to end it with the brutality. Seriously, they're bloody amazing. I really don't have any complaints with Jason at all. I guess if I had to be nitpicky, once again, it would be that he completely missed out being an MK9, or Freddy didn't come back in MKX, which would have been awesome for a Freddy vs. Jason rematch. But besides that, I think he's one of the best Mortal Kombat guest characters, and if I had made this a tier list, he'd easily land himself in the S tier spot, S standing for slasher, of course. So good work, Jason, way to make your mother, Pamela, proud.
Jason wins.
We've made our way to the top 3, and we're looking at the final guest character closing out the Injustice series, this being the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Injustice 2. Oh my god, this was such an amazing inclusion. First off, they're iconic comic book characters that just feel like they fit in a fighting game. On top of that, instead of just lumping all the turtles into one character, where your superpower would be just tapping B or circle and just switching between turtles, they went the extra mile and pretty much recreated the variation system in MKX, making it that you can choose each individual turtle going into the match. And on top of that, each turtle does play very differently. Sure, they have a few shared special moves here and there, but how they meter burn makes them feel very different as well too. Personally, I'm a Donatello fan, but also Raphael's super fun too. Along with that, all of the gear pieces that they get in this game just really are big deep cuts from not only the comics and the movies. Oh, and speaking of the movies, I think the design really helps with their base look. Unlike Hellboy, where they went with the Mike Mignola cartoony look, the team had decided to take inspiration from the 1990 Ninja Turtles movie, and I think that was the best choice to make when it comes to a visual look. These turtles have never looked as radical in game before. Also, one other thing, their super move, 10 out of 10, I can't say it enough. All 4 of them just beating your ass and ending with a shell shock shell slam, amazing, chef's kiss. Overall, the Ninja Turtles being added into the comic book fighting game was just dream come true material. When you play as these characters, you'll be having one shell of a good time.
Nice. Pepperoni.
After my original video came out, I had flip-flopped back and forth on the top 2 here, but at the end of the day, this is my current ranking. Our runner-up goes to Mortal Kombat X's best guest character, the Predator. The Predator growing up was one of my favorite movie characters of all time, mainly because my dad showed me the Predator when I was a kid, and I saw AVP in theaters growing up, and definitely got a huge attachment with the character. So many years later, and finding out that the Predator would be joining designing Mortal Kombat is just dream come true material. And on top of that, with the variation system, they nailed it. I just love how they fit the Predator in the universe too. The fact that he's literally just hunting and killing for sport, seeing the Mortal Kombat combatants as worthy prey. That alone is just an awesome reason to include him in this game. Along with that, the variations are wonderful. Hishkiten, my go-to one, goes for the most iconic Predator look, the silver helmet and the plasma caster on his shoulder. He also has the Hunter variation with the black mask, being able to set up traps and leaving the opponent just hanging around. Then his last one, the Warrior, similar to what he did with Arnie at the end of the movie, takes off his mask and he fights more up close this time around. Along with that, each of his brutalities are wonderful references to kills from the movie, such as the plasma caster shot to the head, to the self-destruct, or if you really want to do a fun reference, just skin the opponent by hanging him up. Seriously, the Predator is just done so well in this game. Now, if I have to be nitpicky about this, unfortunately his fatalities leave a lot to be desired. He definitely has one of the weakest ones in the entire game, and his second one, though being an awesome reference, I just find it to be awkwardly paced if you're looking at it outside of the context. You're better off just doing one of his awesome brutalities or just kicking the opponent at the end of the match to see his awesome outro where he rips out their skull and spine and then puts your skull on display in his trophy room. Despite all that, Predator is one of the best Mortal Kombat guest characters, hands down, and I will die on that hill. You may not have gotten the Golden Skull trophy, but you definitely earned the silver medal as the best NetherRealm Studios guest character.
Predator wins.
Securing the top spot goes to one of my favorite comic book characters, Todd McFarlane's Spawn in Mortal Kombat 11. Back when it was rumored in the MKX days that Spawn would be joining the series, I was hoping that this would become a reality. Hence, 2019's Mortal Kombat 11 revealed that Spawn would be making his way to Mortal Kombat, leaving me ecstatic. Then when he finally released in March of 2020, he is exactly what I wanted him to be, pulling a lot of stuff from the comics, him finally using his chains and cape in combat, something that many other Spawn games fail to do, and the fact he has so many fun costumes at his disposal. Not only can he just reference the current Spawn attire, but even the original look, to even Commando Spawn, and a design that NetherRealm Studios had made up for Spawn. Honestly, all of them look amazing, and the gear pieces just go perfect with all of these costumes. It really shows they pulled so much from the source material, and it was nice to know that Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn, was heavily consulted in the design aspect. This is his character and it's approved by him. They nailed it. Along with that, he has some amazing and gory brutalities and fatalities, both of which have ranked pretty high on all guest character finishers ranked. Along with that, his super move just references so many fun things about the character, lighting him ablaze with his guns, summoning some giant demon arms to rip apart their chest, then summoning some chain to pop through their chest and then slamming them to the ground with necromagic. And in the past, I have complained about Mortal Kombat 11's limited and slow combat, but I guess they opened the hell gates with Spawn because he has so many opportunities. His combos feel the most expansive, and there's so much variation with his special moves and all of that. Like, there's so much freedom with the character. The cherry on top to make this the best NRS guest character is having Keith David reprise the role to play Spawn. That right there just makes it goated. And for all of these reasons, Spawn is the best guest character in Mortal Kombat history. All hail Spawn. All hail Spawn. And so there you have my ranking of all of the NetherRealm Studios guest characters from the worst to the best. Which one of them was your favorite? Which one of them is your least favorite? And to make things a little bit more interesting, which one of these characters would you like to see come back in a future Mortal Kombat title? Please put them down below in the comments and let's have a fun discussion about it. And as always, these are just my opinions, they're not the definitive list, so let's not argue down in the comments or just bash each other, okay? Sorry for the delay, I tried getting this out on Monday, but my personal life got very busy, a lot of fun stuff going on, and a lot of fun updates coming to the channel, so stay tuned for that coming up. And there's gonna be a lot more varied stuff coming to the channel, so be ready for that. The second Mortal Kombat movie is coming out this October, so be ready for some news updates and content covering the movie, along with various Mortal Kombat media. Like, I've never watched Defenders of the Realm before, so I want to do an entire review of the series, along with reviewing each of the movies in depth and then doing a re-ranking at the end. And I do want to do some more varied content, such as build the roster for the next Mortal Kombat game. I think that would be a lot of fun. Yeah, so just be on the lookout on my community tab and social media platforms for updates on all of this other content coming to the channel. I hope you guys enjoy it. But as always, thank you so much for your continuous support. My name is Nick, and have a wonderful rest of your day. See ya, and have a good one.
Fight!